Hello, friends. Welcome to Trivia Over Tea, the quiz show podcast where we drink tea and play trivia. I am your host, Matthew Cook, and I'm here virtually once again with our scorekeeper, Carter Zanke. Carter, how are you this morning?
I'm great. I had some green tea to kick the day off.
Oh, wonderful. So glad to hear it. Well, let's meet this week's contestants. First, we have Garrett.
Hello, my name is Garrett. I'm thrilled to be back, and I'm drinking Earl Grey this morning.
Lovely. Thanks for being back, Garrett. And we also have Graciela.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Third time's the charm. Maybe I'll do better than the last two times I've been on here. And this morning I am drinking some PG tea, some English breakfast tea to start the morning off.
Very good. I have my trusty iced tea with me today, trying to wake me up this morning. Well, as with all of our regular episodes, we'll have 4 rounds of questions today, each with a slightly different format. And so without further ado, Carter will explain the rules for round 1.
Yes, as you may know, round 1 is our first general knowledge round with 5 multiple choices for each of you. Questions here with 10 points each.
All righty, Garrett, you're up first. Are you ready?
Oh gosh, I'm so ready.
Okay. Question 1. On April 20th, 1968, what father of current Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was sworn in as Prime Minister of Canada? A, Brian Trudeau, B, Alexander Trudeau, or C, Pierre Trudeau?
Oh gosh. Brian Trudeau sounds very real, but so does Pierre. I'm gonna go with Brian here. Brian Trudeau.
It was actually Pierre.
Oh
Pierre
my
Trudeau,
gosh.
yeah, he was Prime Minister from 1979 until 1979, I should say, and then again from 1980 to 1984.
Dang.
Question 2. Which of the following can measure humidity? A, an anemometer, B, a psychrometer, or C, a barometer?
I think that one's a barometer.
That's air pressure.
No, I was like, I know this one. I've heard of the barometer before.
Yeah, that's air pressure. The humidity is actually psychrometer. And an anemometer, it measures wind speed.
Dang, I got my psychrometer right over there.
Yeah. Oh well. Question 3. On April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig that was operated by what company exploded in the Gulf of Mexico? A, Exxon, B, Shell, or C, BP?
I got this one. This one's BP. I was
That's
here for
correct.
this one.
Yeah, remember it well. The federal government estimates that over 200 million gallons of oil spilled into the Gulf of Mexico in what is considered the largest marine oil spill in history. Question 4. Which of the following is not a type of screwdriver? A, Torx, B, Tanaka, or C, Posidrive?
Now, Posidrive sounds like a type of screwdriver. That's just a screwdriver like name right there. Now, the torque and knot has the word knot in it, which could be a subtle hint for you, Matthew, that one is not a screwdriver. I'm going to go with B here.
That's correct. Yes.
See, I knew Matthew.
Well, actually,
set design like knowledge.
That's right. It was in here.
all those theater years. Yeah. My brother wrote this question and did not provide me with an explanation. So we can only assume that your reasoning is exactly what he had in mind.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mason. I appreciate it.
And finally, question 5. The composer Karl-Heinz Stockhausen premiered a string quartet that was famous for its elaborate performance requests. Stockhausen stipulated that the amplified string instruments must perform from A, 4 helicopters that were hovering in place next to each other, B, 4 specially made chariots that raced around a large arena, or C, a trailer pulled by a vehicle playing to an audience in a different trailer pulled by another vehicle driving down the same road.
Oh my gosh. All of those are so elaborate.
Yeah.
I guess which one would I enjoy watching the most would have to be the right answer here. Oh, it's either the trailers where you're driving together, but I feel like that kind of ruins the ambiance, but it is very elaborate. It's got to be the chariots. It's got to be chariots.
It was actually the helicopters. It was
what?
4 helicopters that were hovering in place next to each other.
That's so elaborate. I love it.
Well, Graciela, are you ready for your 5 questions?
As ready as I'll ever be, Matthew.
Okay. Question 1. What element is responsible for making the color blue in fireworks? A, copper, B, iron, or C, sulfur?
See, I feel like I know this, but I'm not gonna know the answer. Like I should know this, but I'm not. So I'm gonna go with B.
It was actually A, copper. Fireworks use a variety of chemistry concepts to not only propel them into the air, but also to make the different colors that appear. Question 2. What was the name of the man who shot Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy, New York Senator and former Attorney General and brother of John F. Kennedy, in 1968? A, James Earl Ray, B, Sirhan Sirhan, or C, John Hinckley?
See, I think it's A, so I'm gonna go with A.
You're close. He actually assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. 2 months earlier, in April 1968. The correct answer was Sirhan Sirhan. And he shot Kennedy at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles on June 5th, 1968.
I like the name. I think it's easy to remember. Like in case you forget one of your first name or your last name, you know.
Same thing. There you go. Question 3. The only island in the Mascarenes not claimed by Mauritius is what French possession whose capital and largest city is Saint-Denis? A, French Guiana, B, Mayotte, or C, Réunion, spelled reunion?
See, I knew like 30% of the words that you used in that sentence. So I don't think that bodes well for my chances, but I'm going to go with B because I think it sounds cool.
Well, you'll be shocked to know that Mason wrote this question.
No way.
Yeah. The answer is actually C, Réunion.
Oh,
Yeah. Or
of course it is.
Yeah. Question 4. What percentage of the world's population lives in the Northern Hemisphere? A, 70%, B, 80%, or C, 90%?
I'm going to go with 80% because I don't think it can be either of the other two extremes. So I'm going to go with a good middleman right here. So 80%.
Actually, it was 90%.
Well, that means I'm wrong. So
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, 90%. And it's largely due to the fact that there is just so much more land in the Northern Hemisphere than the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah. And like nobody lives in Australia or New Zealand. And then the vast majority of Africa is above the equator. And then South America is the only landmass that primarily sits below the equator.
See, now that you say that out loud, that makes a lot more sense. For some reason, I thought there was a lot more below the equator.
Yeah, well, and if you think China, India, both located entirely above the equator. And so that's basically 2.5 billion people right there. And then the US is third, and we're completely above the equator. And I think Indonesia is split, but then, anyway, 90%.
Okay.
There you go. And finally, question 5. The composer Alexander Scriabin tragically died at the age of 43 in 1915 before he was able to finish his last work. This work, a week-long event which he imagined taking place in a specially constructed venue in the Himalayas that incorporated art, music, light, and smell, was meant to initiate A, a world-ending apocalypse, B, a mass conversion to Buddhism, or C, the formulation of a new nation state.
I'm going to go with B because I don't think anyone would try to create an apocalypse, but I mean, you never know, but I'm going to go with B.
You never know. And in fact, he was trying to initiate a world-ending apocalypse.
Well, you just can't account for taste these days, I guess.
No, you really can't. Well, that's the end of round 1. So Carter, can you please give us a score update?
We have Garrett with a lead of 20 points, also having 20 points.
All righty. Well, now it's time for round 2. So Carter, can you please tell us the rules?
Yes, round 2 will be our a round where you'll get open-ended questions. In this case, they'll be worth 20 points each. And if you go in wrong, your opponent can answer for 10 points. You'll get 5 questions on the same topic here.
Alrighty. Well, I will preface this by saying that I think that I inadvertently wrote a really difficult round 2 for the two of you, so I'm just going to apologize for that ahead of time. I think they're good questions though, so hopefully you'll know something. Garrett, you are going to get 5 questions about an actor born on April 20th, which is the date that this podcast will be released, and that is Shamar Moore, born April 20th, 1970. Have you ever heard of Shamar Moore?
Should have said Mason wrote all these hard questions for me, put it on him.
I should have, but alas, I wrote them. So anyway, here we go. Question 1. Moore rose to prominence as an actor on what type of melodramatic serial daytime show?
Well, it is a melodramatic serial daytime show, and I only have really seen so many of those. So
Yeah, but what type? We're
what type?
thinking general.
Oh, genre, not a specific show here.
No, yeah. I originally wrote the question asking for the specific show, and then I was like, maybe I should broaden it out a little bit.
Oh, dang. Well, I was going to go with Grey's Anatomy because that's the serial daytime show that Graciela is saying no. Graciela, you're fighting against me. Well, I'll stick with my gut. No, Graciela said no. It was a cop show. It was like.
Okay. No.
All right.
That's not correct.
Was I right with my first answer?
No.
No.
Graciela?
Can you repeat the question one more time? Really
Yeah.
quick?
Moore rose to prominence as an actor on what type of melodramatic serial daytime show?
Is it a soap opera?
Soap opera, yeah. He played Malcolm Winters on the CBS soap opera The Young and the Restless, and he won the Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series in 2000. Question 2. In addition to the Emmy Award, his performance on The Young and the Restless garnered him 8 Image Awards, which are given by what organization?
I'm going to go with the Academy here.
No. Graciela?
No, I do not know.
They're given by the NAACP. And he would earn a 9th NAACP Image Award in 2015 for another series, which I'm just about to ask about. Question 3. Moore is also well known for playing Agent Derek Morgan on what FBI procedural series that concluded in 2020?
Oh, come on. I totally nailed the first one then. It was a show about cops. He was in the FBI. What is the specific show that concluded?
Yes. Yeah, it ran for a while, like 15 seasons.
Gosh, does Law and Order count here?
It does, but it's not the right answer.
Okay.
Yeah. Graciela?
He plays Derek Morgan on a show called Criminal Minds.
That is correct. Yes, Criminal Minds. He was in the main cast for the first 11 seasons and came back as a guest in seasons 12, 13, and 14. It's a good show. Question 4. Moore played Victor Stone / Cyborg in what DC Comics animated film series?
The Teen Titans.
No. Graciela?
I have no clue.
This was the Justice League, apparently. Comics is not my area of expertise, so we'll just leave it at that. And finally, question 5. Moore owns a retail company called Baby Girl LLC, whose profits are used to help fight what incurable neurological disease?
Oh, gosh. Incurable neurological diseases. Dementia.
No. Graciela?
I don't know.
Multiple sclerosis is what it helps fight. Yeah. His mother had suffered from the disease up until her death in 2020. Well, this is going just about as well as I thought it might. Graciela, your questions, because April 20th, 1610 was the only eyewitness account of a performance of Macbeth in Shakespeare's lifetime. So you're going to get 5 questions about the play Macbeth.
was in it, so this should go okay.
I know. So hopefully you remember some of it. Here we go. Question 1. Shakespeare's source for the play is a historical account of Macbeth, king of what country in the 11th century?
Denmark?
No.
Okay, cool.
Garrett?
Scotland.
Scotland. Yeah. That's why it's called the Scottish play.
Mr. should be so mad at me right now.
Yeah, let's hope she doesn't listen to this episode. Yeah, the events of the play differ greatly from real history, but it is in fact set in Scotland. Yeah. Question 2. The comical porter scene in Act 2 may have been the origin of what type of jokes?
Farce?
No.
Knock. Oh no, wait. Knock. Knock jokes.
Well, I mean, yes, but you.
I said it wrong first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got there. Give her the points.
I mean, yeah. Well, okay. Why don't we just? Yeah, we'll give you the points. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your generosity.
Yeah, of course. Yes, knock jokes. The porter had been drinking heavily and rambles on while Macduff and Lennox knock on the door. The porter says, "Knock, knock, knock. Who's there?" numerous times during the monologue. Question 3. During the banquet in Act 3, who reappears as a ghost and sits on Macbeth's throne?
Give me a second. Banquo. It's Banquo.
It is Banquo. Macbeth orders Banquo and his son Fleance be killed earlier in the act. Banquo is killed, but Fleance escapes the assassins.
Yes, he flies. Fly. Fleance fly.
Yes, very good. Exactly right. Question 4. In Act 4, the three witches say what couplet, one of the most quoted lines in all of Shakespeare, while they brew a potion for Macbeth to drink?
Double toil and trouble.
That's correct. Fire burn and cauldron bubble is the second line. And finally, question 5. At the end of the play, when Macbeth is killed in battle, who becomes King of Scotland?
I know it's the son of the king who was killed, but I don't. It's not Malcolm. I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay. You don't want to take a guess?
I'll say Malcolm, but
It is Malcolm.
Oh!
Yeah. Macduff walks on stage holding the decapitated head of Macbeth, while Malcolm declares that order has been restored. Well, that's the end of round 2. So Carter, can you please give us a score update?
We have Graciela at 100 and Garrett at 30.
You see, I thought that the Macbeth questions were going to go either one of two ways. Either you're going to remember Macbeth really, really well, or it was all going to be not there. So
it was probably like my favorite play that we did in high school because I got to play one of the murderers, and like I felt very
right. You were one of the murderers.
Very like powerful in that role. So I had to remember every single moment because I cherished it.
Cherished your time as a murderer. I understand.
Yes.
Well, now it is time for round 3. So Carter, can you please tell us the rules?
Yes, round 3 is a lot like round 2, but now the questions are worth 30 points each. Your opponent can answer for 15 points if you get one wrong, and they'll be on multiple topics.
All righty, Garrett, are you ready for your 5 questions?
Yes, I am.
Question 1. What interstate highway is the longest east-west interstate highway in Virginia that, in part, connects Richmond and the Hampton Roads area?
Oh my gosh. All right. It's east-west, so it's not 95. I'm going to go with 64.
That's correct. It extends west all the way to the St. Louis area. Very good.
All right.
Question 2. What is the most common element in the human body?
It's water.
That's not an element.
H2. Oh no. Did I say?
Do you want to guess an element? I'll let you guess an element.
I think it's got to go to Graciela. I said water.
Okay, Graciela.
I'm gonna take one of the components from water. Is it hydrogen?
It's actually oxygen.
Oh.
Yeah. Humans are mostly made of water, and so we have lots of oxygen in us. Question 3. On April 20th, 1759, what German English composer was reburied in Westminster Abbey?
I'm gonna go with Handel.
That's correct, George Friedrich Handel.
It's one of the few German composers I know.
I noticed that you mentioned him, Handel's Messiah, on your contestant information sheet.
Always
And,
shout out Handel.
Yeah. Question 4. How many electors are there in the Electoral College used to elect the President of the United States every 4 years?
How many electors? I'm gonna go with 390.
No. Graciela?
I was gonna say 7, but that seems very off.
Oh no. The face Matthew.
No. No, there are 538 electors.
Yeah, cool.
538.
Yeah. So only off by 531. Graciela.
It's fine.
So
I'm fine.
Pretty close. The number comes from the total number of senators plus the total number of members of the House of Representatives plus the 3 votes awarded to the District of Columbia by the 23rd Amendment. Yeah. And that's why you need 270 to win, because that's half would be 269. So 270 would be one more than half. Question 5. The ventricular folds are also known as the false version of what group of throat tissues that, as the name implies, help produce human speech?
Your throat tissues, things that are in your throat. Ah, yes, I know them well. I've got them.
Yeah, you do.
They're the throat things, the things in your throat. I literally can't think of a single thing that's in my throat right now.
Okay, Graciela?
Is it your vocal cords?
Yeah, vocal cords.
I still can't even comprehend.
Well, you're using them right now.
I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Graciela, are you ready for your 5 questions?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Question 1. What interstate highway connects Columbia, South Carolina with Charlotte, North Carolina?
Good. I drove that the other day. I think it's 71, but I also am probably wrong.
It's not 71. Garrett?
What are the 2 places it connects again?
Charlotte and Columbia.
I'm gonna go with 54.
It was 77.
Oh, dang.
And then it then continues north all the way to Cleveland. Question 2. Contrary to popular belief, U.S. law nor industry convention does not require what hard liquor beverage to be produced in Kentucky?
Moonshine?
No.
Cool.
Garrett?
It doesn't require it to be produced in Kentucky?
Correct. But Kentucky is synonymous with this liquor.
So why would they make a law to not? I got questions after we hear the answer. Is it whiskey, Kentucky whiskey?
It's I think this is a type of whiskey, if I remember correctly. It's called bourbon.
Oh gosh, I knew
Yeah.
it was either bourbon or whiskey.
Yeah, and I think bourbon is a specific type of whiskey, if I remember correctly. Bourbon can be produced in any U.S. state and be sold and labeled as bourbon. There's like a popular belief that because it's so associated with the state of Kentucky, that only bourbon that's produced in Kentucky can be labeled as such. Kind of like how technically only champagne that comes from the Champagne region of France can actually be labeled as champagne. Otherwise, it's just sparkling wine.
Gotcha. Huh.
Yeah. So, but it's actually not the case for bourbon. It can be brewed anywhere. So, or distilled anywhere. Anyway, question 3. On April 20th, 1986, who scored a record 63 points in an NBA playoff game?
Ah, yes. Sports. Michael Jordan.
That's
Why?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. And that record still stands today. Apologies for the double sports questions, Graciela, but question 4. In 2008, who became the first woman to win an IndyCar race?
I really could not tell you.
Okay.
Like no, like there's no names whatsoever in this noggin.
Okay, Garrett.
It was Graciela. She won the Indy car race.
That's
That's crazy.
correct. No, it was in fact not Graciela. This is Danica Patrick.
Oh, okay. I've
Yeah.
heard the name, but you know,
Mhm.
there's no way
It was back there. It was back there somewhere.
It was probably over here, actually. Like,
Yeah.
out.
She won the Indy Japan 300. And finally, question 5. In 1900, James Weldon Johnson, wanting to write a poem to commemorate Lincoln's birthday, wrote what poem that would later be set to music by his brother, J. Rosamond Johnson?
I do not know. I was gonna say Greensleeves, and I know that's wrong. So I'm just, but it's the only thing that's coming to my head.
Greensleeves is a tune name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
And then What Child Is This, of course, is the most famous text set to it. But anyway, that's not correct. Garrett?
Johnson's poem.
No. This is Lift Every Voice and Sing. Okay. Well, that's the end of round 3. Carter, can you please give us a score update?
We have Graciela at 145 and Garrett at 90.
All righty. Now it is time for round 4. So, Carter, can you please tell us the rules?
Yes, round 4 is our showdown, where you'll each get 3 questions, the same 3 questions, worth 40 points each. We'll ask you to write down your answers or otherwise make note of them.
All righty. Garrett, Graciela, are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready for this comeback here. Going down,
Okay.
Graciela.
Here we go. Question 1. Rachel Carson's book, Silent Spring, led to a nationwide ban on what insecticide? Do we have answers? Garrett?
Got an answer.
Okay, Garrett.
The famous insecticide, Bug Be Gone.
Graciela?
I wrote fertilizer, and I know it's not an insecticide, but it's in a garden. So
True, those are in gardens.
Both wonderful answers, both wrong. This one is called DDT, and it's got a much longer name that I won't attempt to pronounce right now. But DDT, its ban has been credited in part with the recovery of bald eagle populations in the United States, among other species. And it's actually banned worldwide now. So there you go. Question 2. What was President Ronald Reagan's favorite candy, which he handed out to foreign dignitaries who visited the White House? Do we have answers?
Yeah.
sure.
Garrett, what's your answer?
I said Pez. I just think it would be funny if he was just like handing out Pez to foreign dignitaries.
Graciela?
See, this is an homage to my father who loves Ronald Reagan, and his favorite candy is a Take 5, but I know that's probably most definitely the wrong answer. And I also wrote Skittles, but Take 5 is my answer.
No, none of those are correct, unfortunately. He loved jelly beans.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
And his love of jelly beans was well known, and the Herman Gutlitz Candy Company directly supplied the White House for all 8 years of Reagan's presidency. So
Do you know if he had a specific type of jelly bean he loved? Like, popcorn is the superior one, but
I read on the Reagan Library website that his favorite jelly bean flavor was licorice.
Oh.
Which to me kind of seems to
Yeah.
defeat the purpose of eating jelly beans.
yeah.
But, to each their own. So who am I to judge? Anyway, finally, question 3. Fences, King Hedley II, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom are among the plays in what playwright's Pittsburgh cycle? Alrighty, do we have answers,
I think so.
perhaps? Garrett?
For the Pittsburgh cycle, I have the Pittsburgh New Works cycle.
No, I was looking for the playwright.
I wasn't gonna get that either. So
Graciela?
I said August Wilson. I don't
It
think
is
that-
August Wilson.
Oh,
Yes. Each of the plays is set in a different decade in the 20th century and highlights the African American experience in the United States, and 9 of them are set in the Hill District of Pittsburgh. Well, that's the end of the game. So, Carter, can you please give us the final score?
We have Garrett with 90 points and Graciela with 185.
Well, congratulations, Graciela. You have won. Do you have anything that you would like to say?
I just like to thank my mom, my dad, and my sister, and also myself for the knowledge that I have today. It's been a real tough time, but it's been fun.
It's important to give yourself some self-love.
Yes,
So,
yes,
yeah,
thank
that's
you.
very good. Well, that's our show for this week, folks. Thank you, Garrett and Graciela, for being on the show today, as well as Carter Zenke for being our scorekeeper, and Mason Cook for composing the music. Today's questions were written by Caitlin Fick, Lucas Hauser, Matthew Hauser, Tanner Tim, Lucas Lemonholm, Mason Cook, and yours truly. And thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to Trivia Over Tea on your preferred podcast platform and leave us a review if you enjoyed it. And check out our Facebook and Instagram pages at Trivia Over Tea, and as well as our Twitter account, also at Trivia Over Tea. And we are on YouTube as well, and also Twitch, twitch.tv/Trivia Over Tea, if we ever decide to live stream in the future episode, which I'm sure we will, but I need to plan more ahead for that. Yeah. And tune in next week when we'll have 2 new contestants and 33 more fantastic questions.